Good morning, everybody. I think sometimes we all try to do too much. We have a saying in Liverpool, if somebody will do a foreigner for you, it's somebody who's got a job and is probably very skilled, but will perhaps work in the evening or during the night and do a job for you directly, dare I say, cash in hand at a reduced rate. And we rely very heavily here on people who are willing to help. So let me explain. Just 2 weeks ago, it was the week before Charles came back from treatment in the UK. It was extremely hot. I was extremely stressed. We had a lot of animals coming in. There was a lot to do, and I stupidly, in the evening, decided to go down into Marrakesh to the supermarket to get food in for Charles coming back. And also driving into Marrakesh, and it was really busy. It was the end of Eid and everyone was out on their bikes. And I was talking to people on the phone because I try to work while I'm in the car. When I say on the phone, through CarPlay, certainly not in my hand. And I drove into the car park and I stupidly tried to veer towards a bay and didn't see a big fire extinguisher hose on the wall and scraped the whole of the side of my car. That was the first time in 15 years living and driving in Morocco that I've done such a thing. And I think that was just a lesson to slow down. Ayub phoned me immediately and he said, it doesn't matter what's happened to the car as long as you're okay. But that means he and Charles have now taken the car into the garage to be repaired on insurance. And I have to say, the insurance company was super. They were lovely with me, very kind, and it was all done very quickly and very efficiently, which to me is an example when you're in Morocco. If you do good work and you treat people properly, you get so much more in return. So Ayub then has had quite a shout at me, really. He said, listen to it, he said, I'm the manager, I'll manage, I know how to do everything. And to be fair, he does. He is incredible and so committed. So if he's got a day off and we're really busy here, he'll only take half a day off. He'll come in if there's an emergency, and he can manage the place beautifully. He can do things I couldn't even dream of doing. So back to the foreigner, we have quite a large swimming pool which was built when we built our villa before the refuge, and it tends to be used in the hot weather by children from the village. We never have time to jump into it, and I was really anxious. We're a very high calcium area here. It was suffocating with calcium on the walls and it needed a refurb. And what did Ayub do? He arranged a foreigner for me, and they're working on that now. Some lads have come in when it's a bit cooler, or they come in at night. They're chipping all the calcium away, and I'm going to take professional advice how we prevent that happening in the future. So I have a wonderful team of people with me, and people always willing to come over here and help. So I've had to say I accept all that, and of course what I have to do now is the admin, the social media takes so much longer than it used to. And we now have so much is happening, and I'm very anxious that we hang on to our own social media. We don't want professionals in to do our social media, because one wrong word and we've lost it all. So this is where I'm making a plea to you, really. You will know, those of you that follow me faithfully, that the number that we're taking in at the moment. Well, we're taking a lot of them in, particularly donkeys, because with FIFA coming up, where people may have kept 2 or 3 or 4 donkeys on a piece of land that was rented, that land is all being sold off for building in preparation for the World Cup in 2030. And these donkeys have nowhere else to go. Horses particularly, no one will take on the burden of a horse. And we now have 40 horses. Some of them have really done very well and are fine horses now. But those of you that have anything to do with stables, imagine the cost of keeping those horses. 40 horses, and all in all, now 350 equines, including the mules and the donkeys. So we're into a scale that I never envisaged and never believed possible. But it isn't a question of us saying we can't do any more, we have to close our gates, because that's what everybody does. And I always say the people who do support me wouldn't expect me to do that. And the last 2 days, you'll have seen on our social media how we were able to organise overnight a rescue of a horse from the beach close to Agadir, where a family had been caring for this horse for nearly 3 weeks. He had been tied on the beach to rocks on a fisherman's line that he was constantly getting tangled in. He wasn't being fed or watered. A local restaurant sent some bread rolls down for him. But this family, who are Birmingham based, rallied around, but they were terrified of leaving him there. And again, this is how we're growing. They put it on social media. They knew nothing about us, and people suggested contact us. They contacted me late afternoon, I think, but we had a driver down there overnight. It was quite a battle, but the horse is back. Beautiful horse in beautiful condition. And that family has been lovely, and they have committed themselves to try and promote us in the future. So really what I'm looking for is, in the early days, I never asked for anything, but people were hugely supportive and we just kept going. I've never used sort of stars and whistles and tried to glorify what we do. I tell it as it is. And we have supporters all over the world. And not for a moment would I expect any of those people to give more than they do. We are so grateful. And when I see it come in day by day, I'm mentally thinking, oh, the name, I know it, how wonderful, how kind and generous people are. But those of you that know what we do and are supportive of what we do, if I now try and enhance our social media and go even wider, where you can help is supporting me in comments. Because I say to myself, I look at people's various accounts in the UK, because we're registered in the UK, and I look at two major working horse, working animal and donkey places. I'm not going to name them because I'm not here to criticise other charities, but they are huge. And when I look at their accounts, gracious me, the first year of the pandemic, one of them, their chief executive, earned more than we ran this refuge on. So if you look at their costs and their overheads, they are bringing in millions. And somehow I have to get myself to a similar position, but without losing our ethical base. And I will reinforce that now very briefly. We are here to do what we say in our constitution. We do not turn an equine away. Once they come here, they will never be tethered, they will never wear a bit again, and they will have a name. And they will be treated with dignity until they die. Charles and myself have never taken a penny, a dime, a dollar out of the charity. We have our pensions and we keep ourselves on our pensions and also help fund the charity. And my family, who are wonderful, I have amazing children, are very committed to what we do. We're in our 80s, and when we go, they will make sure that it continues. But they are as committed as I am, never to being the founder's family, to be taking big salaries. They will find other ways to make a living. We have enough land, they could have a little private boutique or a shop or something. And I'm very keen that we will, while we need to grow and have the number of donations, we will not match it by taking on highly paid staff. And those people who say to me, you have to pay that salary to get the good people, I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I have worked hard all my life. I was a successful barrister. Charles, my husband, was an extremely successful solicitor. When we were working, we were very well paid, and we would be considered as capable, intelligent, able. I don't think because I bring those skills to a charity that I should be matched by an appropriate salary as to what I would have earned when I was working. I see what I've earned when I was working. We've invested in here for the future of working animals, the Moroccans who work with us, and for Morocco. And thankfully, whatever problems I may have had over the years with my children, whatever ups and downs, whatever they have done, all three of them are absolutely committed to that basic ethical value and have been from the day they were taught as they were growing up. There will be no discrimination against women, against disability, against race. It is embedded, it's in their DNA, and born out of that, they understand what we're doing here and will continue in the future. But I must up the donations for the sake of the animals. This week, and I'll finish after this week we spent just over £4,000 on hay, alfalfa and straw. Ayoub tells me we spent some more on grain, etc. Where Ayoub is wonderful, that all our money is drawn out of the bank in Morocco in cash, and the authorities know that because they know that we buy fodder from the mountains, from the men working there. We don't pay TVA. I've forgotten what it is in England. You know, the automatic tax. It's all paid cash in hand. The authorities here know that because that is the best way to feed the animals. So Ayoub is handling huge amounts of money on a pretty low salary himself, and he's always conscious of what we can spend. He's always pulling me back. You know, Ayoub, we need more shelters. We must think about the money, he says. So I am just so grateful to have one manager with those particular skills. There are others here, and Ayoub said to me, it's almost in both of us, he hates the word manager, and he was trying to say to me from his own culture, in Morocco, if you become a manager, you sit behind a desk and you give orders. He said, I'll never do that. I'm down there working with the men. That's exactly how I would have managed. I won't ask anyone to do anything I wouldn't be prepared to do myself. But there are some men here who take the lead. Abdu is very good over animal welfare and he cares for them beautifully. Simo is particularly good in relation to things like ordering plumbing, things that are very necessary, and will do whatever we ask him. But, you know, the shining star, I have to say, is Ayoub, and he often accuses me of praising everybody else, and he goes, what about me? He says he's joking, but he does deserve a little bit of praise. So please, everybody, in the future, continue to support us. We have made huge strides forward in Morocco the last 10 years, and the next 10 years we expect to be bigger. So bye for now.